Now, if you have done any research online about home remedies for heavy periods or for cramps, then you've probably come across testimonials right here on YouTube, as well as on forums from different women who say that Blackstrap Molasses has been really beneficial for them. So in this video, I just want to break down the nutritional value and nutritional benefits of Blackstrap Molasses so you can understand why it seems to help some people, and then you can decide for yourself if it's something that you would like to try. So Blackstrap Molasses are made from sugarcane. So basically, a juice is extracted from sugarcane, and that juice is boiled down to cane syrup. After that, that syrup is boiled again, and that's where we get the standard molasses that is usually used for baking. That syrup can be boiled another time, and there is where we get Blackstrap Molasses. Now, when it comes to the benefits of Blackstrap Molasses for your period, there's 4 main benefits to be aware of. So the first thing is that it is a good source of both iron and magnesium. So 1 tablespoon of Blackstrap Molasses will give you approximately 20% of the recommended intake of iron and approximately 12% of the recommended intake for magnesium. Now, both of these minerals are super critical for menstrual health. So let's talk a little bit first about iron. So for one, if you have heavy cycles, then you are probably losing a lot of blood, which means you might be low on iron. So adding Blackstrap Molasses can be one of the many ways through which you support your iron levels in terms of diet. In addition, iron is essential for the production of TSH. So TSH is thyroid stimulating hormone. This is a hormone that is produced by the pituitary gland, and what it does is it will stimulate the thyroid to make thyroid hormones. Now, this matters for your menstrual cycle because the menstrual cycle is part of your metabolic processes, and the metabolic processes are regulated by the thyroid. So basically, if we are low on iron, then that means that we're not making enough TSH, and if there's not enough TSH to stimulate the thyroid, then that can also lead to basically an imbalance in thyroid function, which can then disrupt the balance of your monthly cycles. Okay, so that's when it comes to iron. Now let's talk about magnesium. Magnesium has basically been shown to help with lowering the levels of prostaglandins. Now, prostaglandins are hormones that can trigger inflammation in the body if they become out of control. So if we have too high levels of prostaglandins, that can contribute to inflammation and also specifically to menstrual cramps and to a heavy flow. Okay, so the magnesium in Blackstrap Molasses can again be another one of the many ways in which you use your diet to support healthy magnesium levels. Now, the second benefit of consuming Blackstrap Molasses is that it contains B vitamins. Now, we're talking here about things like B1, B2, B3, B5, and B6. Those are all found in Blackstrap Molasses. The main benefit here is that these B vitamins support liver detoxification. Now, the liver is responsible for metabolizing estrogen, for helping us getting rid of other excess hormones, of getting rid of toxins, basically anything in the body that could create any kind of imbalance, any kind of chaos. The liver has to filter it out of the blood first before it gets eliminated from the body. So this is super important, and B vitamins as a family of vitamins, they help with that process. In addition, B vitamins are great for boosting mood. So mood swings, again, are very common when it comes to our menstrual cycle. They can occur before, they can occur during the cycle. At any point in that whole month, there can be a tendency for our moods to shift based on the swings in our hormones. So B vitamins will help with that. Now, if we're talking specifically about B5, which is another one of the vitamins that is in Blackstrap Molasses, that one in particular is involved in the production of our sex hormones as well as our adrenal hormones. So all the 3 sex hormones, estrogen, testosterone, progesterone, as well as adrenal hormones like cortisol, adrenaline, and so on. Again, if we don't have sufficient levels of those, the body can fall into a state of imbalance. So B vitamins in the Blackstrap Molasses, again, a dietary way for you to help balance those hormones. Now, benefit number 3 of blackstrap molasses is that they contain other minerals. So we talked about iron and we talked about magnesium, but they also contain calcium, selenium, as well as potassium. Now, for the menstrual cycle, something like calcium is going to be beneficial for PMS symptoms. Here, we're talking about things like fatigue and bloating. Those can be improved with increase in our intake of calcium. As for selenium, that one is going to be beneficial for the luteal phase. So the luteal phase is where ovulation occurs. And there is research showing that if we are deficient or low in selenium, that can contribute to having a short luteal phase, which is definitely not going to be helpful for the menstrual cycle and certainly also not for fertility. So selenium is going to help with supporting the luteal phase of the cycle. And then when it comes to potassium, that one is really well known for pain. So here we're going to be talking about menstrual cramps. The potassium is going to help with that, and it will also help with bloating. Now, all of those benefits we've just talked about lead us up to benefit number 4, which is the fact that blackstrap molasses can help to naturally boost your energy. And the simple reason is that it contains a lot of different minerals. So especially that iron, right? If we are low in iron, that tends to contribute significantly to fatigue because we can also get into a state of iron deficiency anemia. So those minerals are going to help to boost your energy levels naturally, not in the same way that caffeine would. This is more in the sense of the consistency of consuming those blackstrap molasses and getting those nutrients into your body is what is going to help your body to naturally rebalance itself, and you will physically feel more energized and more vibrant. Okay, so it's time for us to switch over and talk about how to take blackstrap molasses, as well as some things to keep in mind when you decide to buy a bottle for yourself. So a general serving size is 1 tablespoon. And as I mentioned before, 1 tablespoon will give you 20% approximately of the intake of iron and approximately 12% of the intake of magnesium. Now, do keep in mind that your own personal needs for magnesium and iron can be different. So the information I'm giving you here is just based on the general guidelines for the general public, right? And this is just to give you a baseline so you know what to expect when you are consuming blackstrap molasses. So you can do 1 tablespoon. Some people do 2 tablespoons, and that is basically going to double the amount of nutrients that you're going to get from it in 1 day. Now, in terms of how to take it, the easiest and quickest thing is to just put it in a spoon and take it straight, and you'll be done with it in about 10 seconds. So you can just intake it that way. Otherwise, you can also take the molasses, put them in a cup of hot water, and just drink it. It's going to be a little bit almost like a morning coffee, because it does have an earthy flavor to it. It's not very sweet, in my opinion, even though it comes from sugarcane. It's not very sweet. It's more of an earthy flavor to it. So you can just drink it that way as if it was coffee. The third way you can consume it is to add it to a glass of warm lemon water. So if you have the habit of drinking lemon water, then just add your molasses to it. And the other last option is to combine it with almond milk. So you can warm up, again, a cup of almond milk, put in the quantity, whether it's 1 or 2 tablespoons of molasses that you choose to use, and you could throw in some cinnamon. You could also throw in maybe a little bit of honey, maybe give it more sweetness, and then drink that as your morning energizer. Now remember that blackstrap molasses is basically food, and most food-based remedies can take a while to show results, okay? So you want to give this at least 1 cycle, but maybe even preferably 2 cycles, so 2 months before you really start looking to see how well your body is responding to it, if it's responding to it at all. Now, going to the next step, which is purchasing blackstrap molasses, there are a few things that you want to look out for. So the first thing is that the bottle absolutely must say blackstrap molasses, because remember, a lot of the molasses that's on the market is actually made for baking. So that is the sweeter molasses, which doesn't really have much when it comes to nutritional value. So you want it to say blackstrap. Now, companies usually will either say it on the front label or they'll say it on the back label in the ingredients section. So all you have to do is just read closely and make sure you're getting the right product, okay? In addition, you also want to make sure that it says unsulfured blackstrap molasses. So for example, if you come across the Wholesome brand, you will see this one's organic. And again, if you can get organic, great. If you can't, no worries. Just make sure it's Blackstrap. It's organic, and it actually specifies unsulfured. That's important because some companies will use sulfur in the process of making this product, and you really don't want that in your molasses. You just want the simple, plain, good old stuff, nothing else. One thing to keep in mind with this is that since it is derived from sugarcane, if you are diabetic, then you do want to be mindful of how much of it you consume, or if you should even consume it at all. Again, everybody's body and everybody's system is different and has different needs, so you can always check in with your healthcare provider just to kind of get a second opinion and get a sanity check to make sure that there won't be any issues when it comes to consuming these molasses. That's it for this video. I hope you found it helpful. If you have ever used Blackstrap molasses, whether it's for your menstrual cycle or even maybe for some other purpose, feel free to share your experience in the comments section, whether it was positive or negative. Somebody else might benefit from your feedback as they go through the comments. Okay, so go ahead and share that if you feel like it. And if you enjoyed the video, then give it a thumbs up. Feel free to share with other people who would find this information useful. If you want more content like this to help you with balancing your hormones and with supporting your menstrual cycle, be sure to subscribe to this channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next one.